Hey everyone, welcome to more Political Excess. Is there a potential upset brewing for Oklahoma governor? The race may have narrowed up a little bit in recent weeks. So let's do a deep dive and get some background on Ballotpedia about the Oklahoma governor's election. The current governor is Republican Kevin Stitt. He was first elected 4 years ago in 2018 with 54% of the vote, and that was good enough for a 12-point win. Prior to serving as governor, he was a businessman. His opponent on the Democratic side is Joy Hofmeister. Hofmeister is currently serving as the Oklahoma Superintendent of Public Instruction. That is a statewide elected office, and she is the only Democrat currently serving statewide in Oklahoma. However, the twist is Joy Hofmeister was elected as a Republican. She only recently switched to become a Democrat. So that is a significant factor as to why this race might be more competitive. But let's back up slightly and take a look at what happened in their primaries. Well, for Joy Hofmeister, she did win with 61% of the vote over a more progressive challenger. And Kevin Stitt, the incumbent, he had minimal challengers and he won with 69% of the vote. Let's go down here and see how this race is currently rated. All three sites, Cook Political Report, Inside Elections, and Larry Sabato, have it at likely Republican. A few weeks ago, they all had it at solid or safe Republican, so that shows you there has been some movement toward the Democrat there. My most recent rating at the beginning of the month was likely Republican. Some of the polls that we'll get to in a little bit have shown it to be a much closer than expected race. So Kevin Stitt could be in a little bit of trouble, but as of now, it still looks like it would at least be a 5-point margin for Stitt. Oklahoma is one of the reddest states out there, and that does not mean it cannot elect a Democrat for governor. State politics are different than national politics. They have their own individual nuances, and a perceived moderate candidate like Joy Hofmeister could pose a threat to winning that office. In fact, the Democrats have been successful in Oklahoma previously. During the 2000s decade, all of the statewide offices were dominated by Democrats, and they most recently elected a Democrat for governor in 2006, and that was by a whopping 33-point margin. So let's go down a little bit farther and see how these counties have trended on a presidential level. And it may be surprising, but 100% of the population of Oklahoma lives in all 77 counties that are solid Republican, and that is defined as having voted for the Republican for president in the last 3 elections. So just based on that, it appears that Democrats have absolutely nothing going for them in Oklahoma. In one sense, that is true, but let's go down here to the county map. And it is true that all of these counties voted for Mitt Romney in 2012 and then Donald Trump twice. And some of these vote totals and margins for Donald Trump are among the highest in the country. Many of these voted way over 70, even 80% for Donald Trump. So it looks like the Democrats are nowhere to be found here, but if we go to the most populous county, which is Oklahoma County, home of Oklahoma City, we could see that only voted for Donald Trump by about 1% last time. In 2016, it voted for him by about 10%. So this county has shifted toward the left and quite possibly could flip next time. The other notable county here is Tulsa County. That also has a lot of population in it, but even that went for Trump last time by almost 16 points. So it is going to be very tough for a Democrat to win. It's definitely not going to happen for president anytime soon, but statewide, there is a chance it could happen. Let's look at the 2018 map for governor. And Kevin Stitt did win by 12 points, but now we see 4 blue counties on this map. And if we switch to take a look at the margins, we can see suddenly a lot of these deep red counties become much lighter red. It's still not saying a whole lot, as Kevin Stitt still dominated this election, but it goes to show you where the cracks are if the Democrat is going to actually compete here. And you could take a look at the margins in any of these counties by hovering over. I'm going to focus real quick on Oklahoma County again. And this voted basically the inverse of the statewide results. Kevin Stitt had 42% of the vote here, and Drew Edmondson had 54%. Even if you lose the most populous county by over 10 points, you could still easily win this election statewide by over 10 points. Let's switch over to YouTube and see what they've got on their channels. I believe this is the channel for Kevin Stitt. He does have a separate one for governor. This appears to be from the current campaign. There's really only a couple of semi-recent ads on here. And all this other stuff is from his first campaign 4 years ago. And here is Joy Hofmeister's channel. She also doesn't have a ton on here, but she's got some ads, especially from a few months ago. And we could also take a look at their official campaign websites. Here is Kevin Stitt's if you want to donate to him, see where he stands on the issues. And here's Joy Hofmeisters if you want to see where she stands on the issue or see what she's up to. How about any debates? Here is the debate right here. It, of course, will be down in the links below. It's always nice to see a debate. Might not change many minds, but I think it's a good idea for both of these candidates to get on that stage. So let's switch over to Wikipedia and take a look at their endorsements. Kevin Stitt has quite a bit of endorsements on here. Most of these are elected officials from Oklahoma, and he also does have the Donald Trump endorsement. And Joy Hofmeister, she has some tribal endorsements and a few others as well, but curiously, no other elected officials from the state or nationally are listed on here. And that takes us down to the polling, and in the aggregate, as of the time of this video, Kevin Stitt has a 1-point lead on 538, 44.9 to 43.9. So how about the individual polls? Well, the most recent polls actually show Joy Hofmeister with a slight lead. She is under 50% of the vote, but those pollsters are apparently Republican aligned. So that might not bode well for Kevin Stitt. Sooner Poll is the more consistent local pollster that does polls for statewide races. So you might want to look at some of the crosstabs and sample sizes on these polls to see if maybe they're undersampling Republicans, maybe they're oversampling a certain demographic, or maybe these polls are actually indicative of a very tight race, and Kevin Stitt might be in some real danger. So let's compare these poll results to how they stacked up 4 years ago. And we can see that Kevin Stitt again won that race with 54% of the vote. Drew Edmondson had 42%. The final Sooner poll in that election definitely undersampled Kevin Stitt and slightly oversampled Drew Edmondson. Even further back, it showed Drew Edmondson with a lead earlier in that year. There's not a lot of polls for this race, but it does show that Kevin Stitt was underestimated by at least a few points. And there is currently no market on PredictIt yet for this race. Maybe they'll add one as soon as I'm done making this video. But the conclusion is Kevin Stitt should probably win re-election to a second term. It is a red-leaning year, and he is the incumbent. But Joy Hofmeister is proving herself to at least be a worthy competitor. I think that is bolstered by the fact that she used to be a Republican, so she's trying to appeal to a lot of light Republican voters and independents that are sick of the Republican Party, and they of course would expect her to be much more to the right than the National Democratic Party. So there is a small chance for an upset here at the end, but I would guess most of these undecideds or crossover voters would end up coming back home to Kevin Stitt, and he would still win by 5 to 10 points. Anything is possible in a governor's race like this. Red states like Louisiana and Kentucky have elected Democratic governors, so it doesn't mean Oklahoma is immune to electing a Democrat. I don't hear about Kevin Stitt too often. I'm not sure if there's any scandals he's embroiled in. He just kind of seems to blend into the background for me. Probably in a blue-leaning year and in an open seat, someone like Joy Hofmeister actually could probably end up winning. So that is a look into this Oklahoma governor's election. Let me know in the comments down below, are you following this race? Could Joy Hofmeister scramble the map and make this truly competitive? Or is Kevin Stitt going to win in the end very easily? Let me know down below. And if you enjoy this channel, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.